It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back as we continue our medical discussion this morning. Well, I'm going to call it a human discussion because this affects so many South Africans. We are back with Karen Mara Moss from Steps Clubfoot Care and Professor Anria Horn to talk about the long-term impact of clubfoot treatments and what's being done to ensure no child is left behind, because if we are all in this together, no child will get left behind because we have the answers. I have been quite negative and I've thrown a lot of very deep, slightly political questions at you, so I thought let's look at that human angle right now. Set against the great challenges, there must be some wonderful stories of hope. Can you talk us through some of the stories that have kind of propped you up in your journey?
Yeah, I think that's what keeps us going, really. Sometimes it's been tough, you know, running Steps and challenges that have come along at different times, but you just have to meet one mother and one child, and it kind of puts it all in perspective again. I'm just thinking of a little boy that came through an organisation that was working in an informal settlement outside Pretoria. He was already 3 years old with untreated clubfoot, and his parents were unemployed. There was really no way for him to access anything, and they found out about us, and the social worker that was volunteering there contacted us. We managed to, there's at Baragwanath, Chris Hardy Baragwanath Hospital, the amazing doctors there, they just want every child to get treated, so they didn't, you know, worry about referrals or anything like that. Because of the special case, they got all the paperwork ready, and we raised, you know, supported their transport to get there. And he was a severe case, you know, his feet were like this and stiff, and he was literally could not walk. Yeah, he was crawling because he couldn't put weight on his feet, and he was 3. And I think when you see those small children with untreated clubfoot, they know already at that age, they've already suffered, you know, they feel shame, they know they're different. But to cut a long story short, within, I think it was about 2.5 months, because he needed longer treatment, 2 to 3 months, his feet were straight. And he had, as Professor Horn was talking about, a procedure. I think he had a little bit more done because his feet were a little bit more, you know, extreme, stiffer. Yeah. And his first thing he wanted was a pair of sneakers because he'd never worn shoes. So I got this video of him hopping along this thing. I must say that was like really, you know,
full.
Happy tears to my eyes.
Oh,
yeah.
I can imagine. Well, I'm struggling a little bit. I've got 2 young kids, so I can imagine that's when your children come into the world, if there is any sort of defect, it's a judgment on you, it's a judgment on them, it's a judgment on your genes, on your... So many stigmas, Prof, so many things I would imagine standing in your way. What are the biggest misconceptions, and how do you go about re-educating families? Because we know in the disability space especially, massive wall to climb.
Yes, so you've actually already mentioned it. So I think the misconception that I most frequently encounter, and having said that, not that frequently, but when I do, is the guilt. So, like you said, parents always query themselves as to what did they do wrong. You know, was it that one time they think they took some Panado because they had a headache, you know, or something like that. So there's often a lot of guilt, and I can't emphasize enough how important it is to just, every time you have an interaction with these parents, because we see them every week, so you become very attached almost to your clubfoot patients, because it's a very regular thing, and just reiterate every time, it's not your fault, you did nothing wrong. Give them information, show them this is how common it is. Clubfoot occurs in 1 in 1,000 babies. So if you think how many babies get born across the Cape Peninsula per day, you know, it's not your fault, it just happens. And then the other misconception, which is more common in the, definitely in the more rural, more traditional communities, is the stigma that it's a curse. And I think the reason we see these neglected children from those areas is because they hide them.
We just don't know what we don't know.
So they get hidden because they're seen as a curse or a shame. So for that, again, just more and more education as much as you can. There's not really much more we can do.
And more proven cases, the more that this emerges within communities, people are going to understand.
Yes, absolutely. And people who've had successful treatment, like Karen's son or this little boy, who can go back into the community and say, look, it's not a curse, it works, it's fine, you can fix it.
It's not even that major, even though the problem is major, the resources, everything, the mindset is there. Absolutely. And I think this is one of those beautiful moments where if we do just connect the dots, it can all work. So what are the dots that need to be connected for you right now? Funding, I would imagine.
Yeah, funding, we've developed from supporting 6 clubfoot clinics in the State House to 47.
Wow.
So it's it's probably 5,000 children this year, because it was 4,700 last year, in different stages of either wearing this or having their casts. So definitely funding. What has been one of STEP's great successes was to put people that are STEP staff into the clinics. So we're covering about 55 to 60% of all patients that come through the partner clinics will see a STEPS person at some stage, whether it's handing out one of our information leaflets, counselling them, talking to them every week, bonding, as Andrew was saying, you start to really form an immense connection.
Network. It's a network.
So funding to cover more people so that we can cover all of the clinics, you know, to have somebody in every clinic, getting the budgets right, you know, the procurement and that type of thing, so that we know the money's there. It's just to put that, you know, sign the dotted line, let's get some stock in.
Wouldn't that be awesome to see clinics and hospitals popping up as being a hotspot for this kind of treatment? That South Africa became a hotspot for this kind of treatment within Africa. The knowledge is here, the mindset, the doctors are here, and clearly the communities are here to help look after those families. This isn't a short solution, not immediate, so it does require effort and people to be attentive. But when we look at the long-term projection, how much can be saved in the long journey, unbelievable opportunity to do something special, and it's for children. With the right treatment, Clubfoot doesn't have to be a disability. It can be a temporary challenge with a lifelong solution. So if you'd like to learn more, if you would like to support STEPS or any of the organizations working within this network on their mission, you can visit steps.org.za.
Thank you so much, my Mother City family, and oh my goodness, always